In this project we are going to apply tattoos to an image similar to this one here. If you can see before and after, I've applied both of these tattoos digitally in Photoshop, and if I zoom in you will see that they look quite convincing to make it appear like the ink is really in the skin instead of on top or just painted on top, and it's interacting with the light reflections very nicely. So this is the project before and after, and let's get started by selecting images from Getty Images. So I'm closing out this image here and I switch to my browser. I've already logged into Getty Images using my account and password, and I make sure that I have the Premium Access Images Only checkbox selected. A search term like muscular, for example, will give you plenty of results, over 700 to choose from. Mine came from this page here, and this is the image that I had selected. Make sure you download the actual Premium Access image, and make sure that you select a file size that has at least 1000 pixels. So this would be suitable because both dimensions are over 1000 pixels. I'm not going to download it again because I already have done that. Since Getty Images does not have good tattoo design images, I'm going to Google to search for tattoo armband, for example. And I need to switch to images. And since we don't want to work with actual photos, we want to switch to line drawing for the image type. It gives us nice black and white line drawing images, and for the quality we want to select minimum or large to get good quality, detailed designs that we can use. So you can pick any one you want. Some of them come with 3 images combined on one, or 3 designs combined on one image. In that case you would have to cut out the one band that you want to work with first. For the second tattoo, I've already done a search for tattoo dragon. Again, I'm selecting medium size images, and I have selected the line drawing subset to get nice black and white designs. This is the dragon that I've selected to use in my project. So I'm going to switch over to Photoshop again, and I'm going to open up all 3 images in Photoshop. So here I have them selected or downloaded, the body, the band tattoo design, and the dragon tattoo design. So I'm selecting all 3 by pressing Command and clicking on the item that I want to open. And under Window I can select Arrange Tile to see all 3 of them. So these are my images. To get the tattoos onto my base image, I click on the background layer and drag it on top of the image. I'm not concerned about the placement or size right now. Just clicking and dragging the images of my tattoo designs onto the photo. So this is my starting point. I'm naming my layers, and I had previously copied the name of my Getty image file. This is my dragon, so I'm naming this dragon. And this is my band design. Let's call it armband. So let's work with the armband first. I need to enlarge it, and I also need to make the white part disappear. So I'm going to select Command T, or you can also go to Edit, Free Transform, to allow you to size the image. I'm holding down the Shift key to just sizing it without distorting it. This is good for now. What we need to do, of course, we need to get rid of the white portion here. So I could try and make a selection and try and create a layer mask, but Photoshop actually has a layer blending mode that is accessible here, and multiply is what we're looking for. When you choose multiply, it will take the current layer and perform a mathematical calculation with the layer below. In this case, everything that is white will become perfectly transparent, and everything that is black will remain perfectly black and opaque. So if I select multiply, the white completely disappears and I can work with just the design itself. I'm using the move tool to position it over the arm, and I need to do some fine-tuning of the size. Command T gets me into the free transform mode, and I can choose warp mode because I really want to distort the tattoo to some degree to make it, for one, fit on the arm. It should not be extending beyond the edge of the arm, and I also want to distort it slightly to make it look like it's wrapping around the arm, so the outside edges should be somewhat squeezed in and the inside should be slightly larger to make it look like it's wrapping around the arm in 3 dimensions. So this is reasonable now for size and positioning. One more little tweak here. I click the checkbox or press the enter key to make it settle in. And here's the tattoo, but it still looks very fake, like it's painted on top of the arm. So what I need to do here, or what I want to do, is I want to make it interact with the layer beneath the image itself here and have it interact with that. In order to do that, I right-click on my layer and I go to blending options. By doing that, I'm adding a layer style to this layer, and there is an area for blending that I want to work with. And the underlying layer is where all the magic will happen for this effect here. There's 2 sliders. If I drag the right slider to the left, you can see that the highlights of the arm will be visible as I drag to the left, and it will hide the tattoo design. What this does really is look at the layer below my current layer. If the image information is brighter than this current value, I show the layer below. If it is less, I show the current layer. So this is a very harsh cutoff and it does not look realistic at all. However, if I press my option key and click on the triangle, I can split it apart to change it from having a harsh cutoff to having a very smooth, gradual transition from the layer below, to use the information of the layer below to decide how much of the underlying layer and the current layer I want to show. So when I tweak these sliders just so, I can get a very convincing effect of the highlights showing through. And I also want to just take the opacity down just a little bit, since most tattoos are not perfectly black, especially as they age, they tend to fade slightly. So this is okay. If I zoom in a little bit, you can see that the tattoo design now looks like it's really in the skin, and the light reflects on top of the skin and on top of the tattoo design. So this looks much more convincing than the original pure black tattoo design. I'm going to zoom back out, and I'm going to do the same thing with my dragon tattoo. Whoops. Command Z allows you to step back if you do something you didn't mean to do. Select the layer that you want to work with and then use the move tool to move the dragon into place. Again, I'm changing the layer blending mode from normal to multiply to hide the white portion of my black and white design. Command T activates the free transform tool, holding down the shift key to size it just roughly. Right now I'm sizing it proportionately, although in a moment I will purposely distort it. So I want to rotate my design, move the cursor outside the corner, move it roughly into position, careful that I'm not going over the arm, so it clearly needs to be just on the torso here, on the abs. I go to warp mode, to distort it somewhat to make it look again like it's closer or bigger as and it should be getting sort of somewhat condensed as the shape of the body wraps away from us. So not too much is needed, but I can purposely distort the design here to position it and to make it look like it conforms to the shape of the body. So I'm happy with this position and size. Again, I'm right-clicking on the layer itself, going to blending options, and here again I choose for the underlying layer, I dial back the right layer. You can see how the bright parts start to take over. If I hold on the Option key, again I can split things up nicely, and by dragging both of these halves into suitable locations, I can achieve a very nice, convincing effect. And again, I'm dialing back the opacity just a little bit to get a convincing, slightly faded and aged-looking tattoo here. So, zooming in, just to show you the effect. This looks quite convincing, makes it look like the ink is really in the skin and the reflection is coming off the skin, on top of the skin, and on top of the tattoo. So this is the effect that we're after for creating convincing tattoos. Again, before and after. And that is all there is to this project.